Used motor oil is often seen as waste, but it can actually be put to good use in several practical ways. It's important to remember that used motor oil contains harmful chemicals. Always wear gloves and protective gear when you handle it, and never dispose of it carelessly. I actually collect my own used motor oil in a half-gallon mason jar. This way it's well sealed and it won't damage the container it's in. Wood preservation. One of the most common uses for used motor oil is as a wood preservative. Mixing it with creosote is an option because it not only strengthens the wood, it also protects it from dry rot. This mixture can be applied to fence posts, garden beds, or other outdoor wooden structures. The oil seeps into the wood, creating a barrier against moisture and pests. It is especially useful for the end of the fence post you'll be placing into the ground, as the motor oil extends the life of the fence post and keeps pests, including termites, away. Rust prevention. Used motor oil can be applied to metal surfaces to prevent rust. It creates a protective coating that shields metal from moisture and air, both of which cause rusting. This is particularly useful for tools, machinery, or metal parts that are exposed to the elements. Simply wipe the oil on the surface and then wipe off any excess. Lubrication. While you wouldn't want to use used motor oil in your car's engine again, it can still serve as a lubricant for other purposes. It's great for lubricating hinges, chains, and any other moving parts that need a bit of slickness to function smoothly. Just apply a small amount to the area and it'll reduce friction and wear. Weed control. If you have an area where you don't want anything to grow, like a gravel driveway or around fence lines, used motor oil can be used as a weed suppressant. Pouring a small amount on unwanted vegetation will kill the plants and prevent any new growth. However, be careful with this method as it can contaminate the soil, so it's best to use it sparingly and away from areas where you might want to plant in the future. Filtering and mixing with gas for older tractors. Used motor oil can be filtered and mixed with gasoline to create a fuel blend that can run older tractors and diesel engines. This method can be a cost-effective way to recycle used oil, especially for equipment that doesn't require high-grade fuel. Just be sure the oil is well filtered to remove any debris that could clog the engine. Tempering steel. Used motor oil can also be used in the process of tempering steel. When steel is heated and then quenched or dipped in the used motor oil, it hardens, making it stronger and more durable. This method is commonly used in blacksmithing and knife making to improve the resilience of metal tools and blades. The oil quench adds a layer of protection against corrosion as well. Attracting wild hogs. If you're dealing with wild hogs on your property, used motor oil can be a surprisingly effective attractant. Hogs are drawn to the smell of the oil, and they'll often rub up against trees or posts that are coated with it. And this can help in luring them to a specific area for easier management or hunting. However, be sure you are equipped and ready to deal with wild hogs because this method does work well. Killing mosquitoes in stagnant water. A small amount of used motor oil can be poured into stagnant water to kill mosquito larvae. The oil creates a thin film on the water's surface, preventing the larvae from getting oxygen, effectively killing them before they mature into mosquitoes. Again, this method should be used with caution, as the oil can harm other wildlife and contaminate water sources. Fuel for oil heaters. Some specialized oil heaters can burn used motor oil as fuel. This can be a cost-effective way to heat a workshop or garage. These heaters are designed to safely burn used oil, providing warmth without letting any harmful fumes escape. It's a great way to recycle the oil and reduce your heating costs. Dust control on dirt roads. If you have a long dirt driveway or a road that kicks up a lot of dust, used motor oil can help keep the dust down. Sprinkling a thin layer of oil on the surface will bind the dust particles together, reducing the amount of dust that gets kicked up by vehicles. Just be sure not to over-apply, as too much oil can make the surface slippery. Starting fires. While it's not the most eco-friendly option, used motor oil can be used as a fire starter in emergencies. If you're having trouble getting a fire going, a small amount of used oil can help get things burning. But be careful, as it burns super hot and fast, so you don't need much to get a fire going. Safety precautions. Always handle used motor oil with care. Wear gloves and eye protection, and keep it away from children and pets. Never pour used motor oil down the drain or just onto the ground, as it can contaminate water sources and harm wildlife. So start collecting that used motor oil from your yard equipment and store it safely to use it later. With the right precautions, you can extend the life of your materials, you can manage pests, and save some money in the process.